Elizabeth Lee is joining us here, and she just won the Democratic primary for Congressional District 5.
Congratulations.
Right?
Thank you so much. That's right.
How's it feel?
It feels pretty incredible.
Now there's no backing out.
That's right. There's no backing out now, but it feels quite incredible.
Good.
What made you motivated to run in this district and this election cycle?
Yeah, I have been raising my family. My 2 small kids are public school kids in Gilbert, and I've really realized my own American dream in CD5. I grew up in rural America. My parents were union laborers, and only by virtue of that did we have any access to health care. And I just so happened to have been born with a rare disease that was missed for many years because of a lack of access to health care. And so as I got older and I watched these problems continue to play out over and over again in roles that I had across business and healthcare and sort of blending the two, people kept saying, like, when are you going to take that, systems thinking, problem solving brain of yours and really take healthcare access, which is my primary talking point as a nurse. It would have to be.
I was going to say, your nursing background really plays into that. And so is that what you're hearing from the constituents you speak to? Is healthcare toward the top of the list?
Without a doubt. I mean, affordability is just every single door, every single conversation, there's some mention of affordability, and it's complex because you've got healthcare affordability pretty much at the top. People are paying thousands of dollars for just to have insurance, just to have access to medical care that then they really can't ever access because they can't afford the premiums. And so people talk about that affordability, and then also the price of gas. I mean, I know you all have heard this, but it's a roller coaster. And who on a regular budget or a fixed income, one of our seniors can really handle $100 swing in a gas budget in a month's time? I mean, people are really, really talking about affordability, but almost as much as they're talking about the corruption that they're seeing at the highest levels of our government. And they're really concerned about that and about the threat to the American dream, really.
Yeah, I know. And so with this election cycle, you're going to be facing off with former Sheriff Mark Lamb, and he, as we know, has name recognition. We're kind of coming up close to this commercial break, but how do you feel about going up against Mark Lamb, who, as we know and we've covered, has had some serious scandals lately?
Yeah, I think it gives us an extremely strong and solid position to actually win this and be the surprise flip of this cycle, because people are still saying CD5 is super safe red. But what we're hearing at the doors is, again, people are tired of the scandals. They're tired of people abusing their power. Given the revenge porn allegations and abuses, that we're seeing, do we really think he's going to hold people accountable?
Yeah.
Hold on. We're going to go to a break. I want to ask you about, do you lean into personal stuff, since you do have some scandals to talk about if you want to, or do you go with policy stuff? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Fox 10 Talks on this Friday. And Brian Webb, EMAC, Ellen McNamara here, and we again are joined by Elizabeth Lee, who is running against former Sheriff Mark Lamb for Congressional District 5. And all on Fox 10 Talks this political season, we have had a number of candidates come on and just basically tell us a little bit about themselves, why they're running, and that is why Elizabeth is here. Actually, this morning we had Andy Biggs, who has the GOP nomination right now for governor. So he was on this morning with his running mate. So we have, folks from all sides of the aisle. And so, Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us once again.
We should say really quickly, I think we have invited the Lamb campaign.
We have,
Mark Lamb to come on, and have not had him recently.
We haven't had him recently. Okay. So, and I will say too, we talked a little bit about some of these scandals that he's been facing, and there is, some revenge porn allegations involving the sheriff. There are also some concerns because he is Mormon. He's a member of the Mormon Church, and there have been complaints directly to the Mormon Church about Mark Lamb. Now, did it hurt him in his primary? Absolutely not. I mean, he still got through with the primary, and he has name recognition, frankly, as the former sheriff, the guy who wears the cowboy hat. He's always on television, and it didn't hurt him in the primary. So there he is right now. And he also has the Trump endorsement. So CD5 is traditionally a fairly red district. But Elizabeth, you were just saying too that you feel good right now about where you are and grabbing kind of some of those independents into your campaign?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really need to lead with Mark Lamb's scandal. We can lead with the fact that Mark Lamb wants us to believe that the American dream is a $3 million ranch 1,500 miles from the constituency he wants to represent. I haven't heard anybody mention that as their American dream when I talk to them. They say that their American dream is to have affordable housing, that their American dream is to have a job that pays the bills and still lets them do some fun stuff on the side. So scandals aside, I think we are tired of corruption, and that's where independents really come into this equation. To win this race, we need 90% of the Democratic turnout. And we had a wonderful turnout in our primary. We won by 45 points. We're very, very excited about how energized a base we have. And we know that 85% of Arizona independents reject the MAGA and extremist proposals and policies. That sets us up with an open seat and a scandal-ridden sheriff for a really competitive race.
Ellen brought up a good point that his personal scandal didn't hurt him in the primary anyway. Can I ask just the open-ended question? Should personal stuff, ethics, be really the top consideration when you're voting for someone versus what they promise as policies? Because we saw, let's face it, the Trump campaign was riddled with scandal from Trump 1.0. Didn't affect him, at least twice he got elected, right? How does that play out on the stack of importance?
Well, a recent article came out that said that the MAGA base does not care about sex scandals. They do not care. That stuff energizes the base. But I believe that it's just energizing the 30,000 people or 40,000, however many votes he brought in the primary. That's the same group of people that he's going to appeal to most likely in the general. So he is also going to have to peel off independents if he's going to take the win. And again, 85% of independents are like, we're tired of the corruption and the scandals. And again, a guy with revenge porn and power abuse allegations, people are not feeling a sense of trust that he will protect their constitutional rights.
Yeah, and of course, Mark Lamb too has denied any time there's been some coverage. The Arizona Republic did a really good job breaking the story with Mark Lamb, and he's always denied whatever he was accused of. So just want to point that out too. So where do you go? I mean, now you said you guys had a really good ground game in the primary, and the election is coming up pretty quick. It's going to be here before we know it.
It is.
So what do you do now between now and then to win?
Yeah, well, like I said, we know we have to hang on to that energized base that we won in the primary, and those folks are extremely excited and motivated. They see hope here. They see the path to victory. So we've spent the last week meeting with our hundreds of volunteers and showing them exactly what that pathway to victory looks like, so that they know that what we are fighting for is so much more attainable than a Cook Index or national news headlines want to say. It is much, much closer than we realize. Also, I think it's important to note there was, I believe, about a 15% undervote in the Republican primary and a 5 to 7% leaving of CD5 Republican race blank. And that tells me that Mark Lamb has not consolidated his base. A lot of people, I mean, what he was supposed to run away with, Daniel Keenan almost nipped him. And I think that just puts us in all the stronger position to bring those independents over to the winning side.
If you flip District 5, that is a huge deal.
That would be a
national
story.
So
yeah,
I would love to share this brief story. My first foray into politics was I volunteered for John McCain's presidential campaign. I lived outside of D.C., and I was once a Republican because my church said you had to be. To be a Christian, you can't be a Democrat. And I believed that for a little while, and then I grew up. But in any case, the first campaign I ever gave my time and talents to was that of the late Senator John McCain. This is his former House seat. How appropriate of a time could there be to bring the McCain Republicans back to the equation, to the table, to the House of Representatives in general?
All right. Elizabeth Lee, we thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
We'll keep an eye on things
All right,
for sure.
appreciate it.
Thanks so much.